Make sure your headphones are plugged in. Hi, my name is Miss Hernandez. I'm going to read you Unit 1, Animal Farm Unit Test. This assessment will show what you know and what you have learned from Animal Farm. This assessment has two parts. Part 1, core knowledge of the novel, and Part 2, application to a new text. Here are some tips to help you do your best. Be sure to read all the directions carefully. Read and annotate all text provided. Read each question carefully. Read all answers before you make your choice. Use process of elimination. You can use the scratch paper to eliminate your multiple choice questions and plan your open response. Good luck. Section 1, core knowledge of the unit. Do your best to answer these questions based on your understanding of the novel Animal Farm. You may use your book and knowledge organizer to help you answer the questions. 1. Which commandment was the last to be rewritten on the side of the barn, but the first to be broken on the farm? A. No animal shall kill any other animal. B. All animals are equal. C. No animal shall sleep in a bed. D. Whatever goes upon two legs is an enemy. E. None of the above. 2. Which of these is not a historical parallel presented in Animal Farm? A. Napoleon as Joseph Stalin. B. Animalism as capitalism. C. Squealer as the propaganda organ of the government, organ or part of the government. D. Benjamin as skeptical, educated individuals who didn't protest against the abuses of power. E. All of the above are historical parallels. 3. A composition that makes fun of something that is usually political is called A. Satire. B. Irony. C. Allegory. D. Fable. Which of the following rhetorical strategies is employed in this description of Squealer? A long strip of paper he read out to the animals lists or figures proving that the production of every class of foodstuff had increased by 200%, 300%, or 500%, as the case may be. A. Ethos. B. Logos. Oh, my bad. A. Ethos. B. Pathos. C. Logos. Or D. Maxim. 5. Which of the following rhetorical strategies is employed in this description? They explained that their studies of the past 3 months they had succeeded in reducing principles of animalism to 7 commandments. These 7 commandments would now be inscribed on the wall. They would form an unalterable law. A. Ethos. B. Pathos. C. Logos. Or D. Maxim. Which of the following quotes from the text is an example of scapegoating? A. I have no wish to take life, not even human life, repeated Boxer, and his eyes were full of tears. B. 4 looks good, 2 looks bad. C. The human beings did not hate Animal Farm any less now that it was prospering. Indeed, they hated it more than ever. D. Whenever anything went wrong, it became usual to attribute it to Snowball. Why do the pigs, 7. Why do the pigs use propaganda on the farm? Select 2 best answers. A. The pigs use propaganda to tell the animals interesting facts about the farm. B. The pigs use propaganda to tell the other animals what they have been doing. C. The pigs use propaganda to make humans think that the farm is doing well. D. The pigs use propaganda because they are lies. E. The pigs use propaganda to hide the fact that they are treating the other animals badly. 8. Which sentences uses the word corrupt or corruption correctly? The corruption is when people fight against authority. B. There was a corruption against the cruel king. C. Boxer is corrupt because he always works hard. D. The pigs are corrupt because they keep the milk and apples for themselves. 9. Which character said, I do not understand it. It must be due to some fault in ourselves. The solution, as I see it, is to work harder. A. Snowball. B. Squealer. C. Napoleon. D. Boxer. 10. At the end of the story, the pig and human faces appear indistinguishable from one another. This illustrates the idea that the pigs and humans were working together since the rebellion. B. The animals finally realized they would prefer the return of Mr. Jones. C. The animals have simply traded the human oppressors for pig oppressors. D. Benjamin needs to lead a new rebellion, this one against the pigs. E. None of the above. 11. Which of the following is not a theme of Animal Farm? A. Animals are not capable of governing themselves. B. Language is a powerful tool. Used improperly, it can enslave and confuse us. C. Freedom and individual dignity must be carefully guarded. D. Power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. Section 3, but technically this is section 2, it's a typo. Read and annotate the passage, then write a response to the writing prompt that follows. Terrible Things, an allegory of the Holocaust. In Europe during World War II, many people looked the other way while terrible things happened. They pretended not to know that their neighbors were being taken away and imprisoned in concentration camps. They pretended not to hear cries for help. The Nazis killed millions of Jews and others in the Holocaust. If everyone had stood together at the first sign of evil, would this have happened? Standing up for what you know is right is not always easy, especially if the ones you face is bigger and stronger than you. It is easier to look the other way, but if you do, terrible things can happen. The clearing in the woods was home to the small forest creatures. The birds and squirrels shared the trees, the rabbits and porcupines shared the shade beneath the trees, and the frogs and fish shared the cool brown waters of the forest pond. Until the day the terrible things came. Little Rabbit saw their terrible shadows before he saw them. He stopped at the edge of the clearing, and the shadows blotted out the sun. We have come for all the animals that have feathers, said the terrible things. We don't have feathers, the frog said. Nor we, said the squirrels. Nor we, said the porcupines. Nor we, said the rabbits. The little fish leaped from the water to show the shine of their scales, but the birds twittered nervously at the top of the trees. Feathers! They rose in the air. Then they screamed away into the blue of the sky. But the terrible things had brought their terrible nets, and they flung them high and caught the birds and carried them away. The other forest creatures talked nervously amongst them. Those birds were always noisy. Noisy, the squirrel said. There's more room in the trees now, the squirrel said. Why did the terrible things want the birds? Asked Little Rabbit. What's wrong with feathers? We mustn't ask, Big Rabbit said. The terrible things don't need a reason. Just be glad it wasn't us they wanted. Now there were no birds to sing in the clearing, but life went on almost as before, until the day the terrible things came back, demanding all animals with tails. We have no tails, the frog said. Nor do we, not real tails, the porcupine said. The little fish jumped from the water to show the smooth shine of their fin tails, and rabbits turned their rumps so the terrible things could see for themselves. Our tails are round and furry, they said. By no means are they bushy. The squirrels scattered in fear and ran high into the treetops. But the terrible things swung their terrible nets higher than the squirrels could run and wider than the squirrels could leap, and they caught them all and carried them away. Those squirrels were greedy, Big Rabbit said, always storing away things for themselves, never sharing. But why did the terrible things take them away? Little Rabbit asked. Did the terrible things want the clearing for themselves? No, they have their own place, Big Rabbit said. But the terrible things don't need a reason. Just mind your own business, Little Rabbit. We don't want them to get mad at us. Now there were no birds to sing or squirrels to chatter in the trees. But life in the clearing went on almost as before, until the day that terrible things came again. Little Rabbit heard the rumble of their terrible voices. We have come for every creature that swims, the terrible things thundered. Oh, we can't swim, the rabbit said quickly. And we can't swim, the porcupine said. The frogs dived deep into the forest pool, and ripples spiraled like corkscrews on the dark brown water. The little fish darted this way and that in streaks of silver, but the terrible things threw their terrible nets down into the depths and dragged them up, dripping frogs and shimmering fish, and carried them away. Why did the terrible things take them? Little Rabbit asked. What did the frogs and fish do to them? Probably nothing, Big Rabbit said. But the terrible things don't need a reason. Many creatures dislike frogs, lumpy, slimy things, and fish are so cold and unfriendly. They never talk to any of us. Now there were no birds to sing, no squirrels to chatter, no frogs to croak, no fish to play in the forest pool. A nervous silence filled the clearing. But life went on almost as usual, until the day the terrible things came back. Little rabbits smelled their terrible smell before they came into sight. The rabbits and porcupines looked all around and everywhere, except at each other. We have come from every creature that sprouts quills, the terrible things thundered. The rabbits stopped quivering. We don't have quills, they said, fluffing their soft white fur. The porcupines bristled with all their strength, but the terrible things covered them with their terrible nets, and porcupines hung in them like flies in a spider's web, as the terrible things carried them away. Those porcupines were always bad-tempered, Big Rabbit said shakily. Prickly, sticky things. This time Little Rabbit didn't ask why, but now he knew the terrible things didn't need a reason. The terrible things had gone, but the smell still filled the clearing. I liked it better when there were all kinds of creatures in our clearing, he said, and I think we should move. What if the terrible things come back? Nonsense, Big Rabbit. Why should we move? This has always been our home. And the terrible things won't come back. We are white rabbits. It couldn't happen to us. As they followed, they as the following day, Little Rabbit thought Big Rabbit must be right until the day the terrible things came back. Little Rabbit saw the terrible gleam of their terrible eyes through the forest darkness, and he smelled the terrible smell. We have come for any creature that is white, the terrible things thundered. There are no white creatures here but us, Big Rabbit said. We have come for you, the terrible things said. The rabbits scampered in every direction. Help! They cried. Somebody help! But there was no one to left to help, and the big circling nets dropped over them, and the terrible things carried them away. All but Little Rabbit, who was little enough to hide in a pile of rocks by the pond, and is smart enough to stay so still that the terrible things thought he was a rock himself. When they had all gone, Little Rabbit crept into the middle of the empty clearing. I should have tried to help the other rabbits, he thought. If only we creatures had stuck together, it could have been different. Sadly, Little Rabbit left the clearing. He'll go tell the other forest creatures about the terrible things. He hoped someone would listen. Your writing prompt. You just read Terrible Things by Eve Bunting. Authors often write allegories to convey moral or spiritual or political messages to a broader audience. Write an extended paragraph that analyzes how Eve Bunting develops her allegory in the short story Terrible Things. Manage your time carefully so you can plan your paragraph and do your writing in the space provided. Write your paragraph on the lined pages of your answer document. Use evidence from the passage. An extended paragraph should include 8 to 10 sentences. It should include a claim, evidence from the text, and analysis. Write your paragraph on the lined pages of this document. Anything that you write that is not on the lines will not be graded. Good luck.